Yo, brace yourselves, because what just leaked onto the internet ain't no remix, and it definitely ain't no tribute track. No ma'am, this is raw, uncut, never before heard chaos from the final moments of the notorious Biggie himself. And baby, it's got the entire internet shaking in disbelief. You ever heard a voice that sounds like it knew it was being silenced forever? You ever heard whispers in the background of a tape that weren't supposed to be there? Gunshots, sirens, and something else, something darker? Because what we're about to unpack ain't just another throwback to 1997. This might just be the very thing that blows the lead off the decades-old conspiracy. Was Biggie set up by his own team? Did someone leak this to distract us from something even bigger? Or is this just another Hollywood-style cover-up gone sloppy? Oh, y'all wanted the truth? Be careful, because once you hear this recording, you can't unhear it. And trust me, someone doesn't want you to. Let's get into it, because this leak didn't just break the internet. It might have cracked the entire East Coast wide open. So let's get one thing straight. You thought the Biggie Smalls case was wrapped up, buried deeper than the verses in Life After Death, huh? You thought the conspiracy died with the man himself, closed in some dusty LAPD filing cabinet, stamped, unsolved, and forgotten. Cute, real cute. Because baby, the streets are screaming again, and this time, it's not from nostalgia, it's from a newly leaked audio that's got even the OGs shook. Yes, allegedly, and we say that with the biggest side-eye possible, a never-before-heard recording of Biggie on the ground has surfaced. And no, this isn't some studio freestyle or voice memo from 1995. We're talking blood, panic, desperation. And a voice in the background that nobody seems to want to identify. Let's back it up real quick. March 9th, 1997, the night hip-hop stood still. Biggie was gunned down in LA, and just like that, the East Coast-West Coast rivalry went from bars to bullets. But here's the thing everybody was looking up at Suge Knight. Up at Puffy, up at Tupac's shadow, which still loomed larger than life. But nobody was listening to what was happening on the ground. Literally. Now fast forward 28 years later, and suddenly, a mysterious clip shows up on the dark web, titled only Track 97. It's grainy, full of static, but the voice? Unmistakable. It's Biggie. You can hear the rasp, the confusion, the gasping, and then, boom, a second voice, calm, calculated, almost directing someone. Let that sink in. We're not talking about some fan-made AI recreation. This isn't your little cousin on TikTok remixing Mo Money Mo Problems with ChatGPT. This audio has forensic-level analysis behind it. Or so claim the self-proclaimed audio truthers who uploaded it anonymously with a warning. This was never meant to be heard. Too many powerful people buried this. Enter the usual suspects. Of course, Diddy's name popped up in the first 10 minutes. Because if there's one man who's allergic to peace when it comes to Biggie's legacy, it's Puffy. The man went from grieving friend to billionaire mogul to reality show meme, all while dodging questions about that fatal night. And now, this tape allegedly has a faint voice calling out Sean in the background. Let's just say, Twitter is not okay right now, but here's where it gets even darker. Remember Gene Deal? Puffy's ex-bodyguard who's been on a one-man mission to expose the industry lie? Yeah. He's the one who says this new recording is 100% real. Claims he heard part of it years ago, back when the LAPD allegedly played it behind closed doors, only to say it was inconclusive and lock it away. Now suddenly, it's back. And somehow clearer? Let's ask the obvious. Who was recording Biggie's final moments? A fan? A stalker? A planted mic from some hidden agency trying to keep tabs on East Coast rappers? Or worse, was this an inside job with its own secret surveillance setup? Because if what the audio suggests is true, this wasn't just a drive-by. This was orchestrated like a symphony of silence arranged by the industry's top ghostwriters of destruction. The clip ends with a chilling phrase whispered, "We got him. We got him?" No, sweetie. We're just getting started, and that brings us straight to the next question. Who's shaking behind closed doors right now, and why are lawyers suddenly lawyering up behind NDAs older than Y2K? Let's dig deeper, because the audio was just the appetizer. The cover-up, the money, and the bot is buried in contracts. That's the main course. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more twisted, boom, enter the real kicker. According to the so-called forensic specialists hired by a shadowy independent label in Atlanta, who claim they were doing a routine vault cleanse for reissue rights, an unlabeled DAT. Tape was discovered in a sealed envelope marked only with a red X. Dramatic? Baby, that's just Tuesday in the hip-hop underworld, the content. A haunting, crackling audio file of Biggie himself recorded mere hours before his death. And no, this ain't no studio freestyle or outtake from Life After Death. This is raw. This is gritty. This is Biggie talking like he knew something was coming. His voice is low, strained, barely audible over what sounds like a hotel AC unit. And at one point he literally whispers, "I don't trust none of these fools. Even the ones in the back seat." Excuse me? People are losing their entire minds over this. Internet detectives have spent the last 24 hours running spectrogram analysis like it's CSI, Brooklyn. And guess what? The timing of the recording lines up exactly with the final moments of that infamous green SUV ride. So now everyone from TikTok truthers to podcast pseudo-historians is asking, was this a deathbed confession? A warning? Or some kind of message from beyond? But let's not stop there. Because where there's smoke, there's Suge Knight. Yup, him, the Darth Vader of 90s hip-hop beefs. According to an anonymous ex-bodyguard who insists he's coming forward now only because his mama told him to get right with, Jesus Suge allegedly made a phone call that night to someone on the East Coast payroll. His words, not mine, and what was said on that call. We don't have the full audio because of course we don't. But insiders claim it was something along the lines of, "It's gotta be done tonight. He's got too much in that notebook." Oh, you mean the same notebook that's been missing since March '97? You can't make this up. Well, technically we can, but you get the point. Meanwhile, DJ Envy, who clearly just wants to be part of something viral again, did a full breakdown on The Breakfast Club, turning his studio into a conspiracy theory dojo. "Look, man," he said, squinting like you just saw a ghost. "You don't just record something like that on accident." Big knew something. He was paranoid, and paranoia in this game? That's called survival instinct. And let's not overlook Diddy's reaction. Or rather, lack of reaction. Homeboy has been silent. No tweets, no statements. No classic Instagram tribute posts with faded filters and Bible verses. Just an eerie digital absence. Almost like someone told him to sit this one out. And when Diddy's not trying to spin the narrative in his favor, you know something's up. So now we've got a bootleg leak that's gaining millions of plays on SoundCloud like it's 2011. We've got cryptic lyrics about betrayal, a mysterious SUV, a warning about someone switching sides for cash, and silence from every major player involved. You feel that? That's not nostalgia. That's the feeling of unfinished business dragging itself back from the grave. And trust it ain't done yet. Because the real earthquake is coming in part 3. Lawsuits, indictments, and a full-blown industry implosion. If Biggie's last words were a smoke signal, honey, we're about to walk into the fire. And that's where everything spins out of control. Because guess what? The name Kaisha isn't some random ex or old friend from the block. Nope. According to a source who claims to have worked in the NYPD archives department in the early 2000s, Kaisha was a known street alias for a woman connected to, wait for it, an underground witness protection program tied to federal surveillance of death row. East. Yes, that Death Row East, the rumored East Coast expansion of Suge Knight's empire that Biggie allegedly was trying to block behind closed doors. Word on the street is that Kaisha had been planted years prior to monitor key figures around Biggie's label. And the last recordings? They catch him figuring it out. The paranoia wasn't just in his rhymes. He was connecting dots that were never supposed to be connected. And right after that final line, Kaisha, call the real one. Before they do, you hear a door slam, you hear the mic fall, and then silence. For 13 seconds. Until static kicks in, and then ... gone. That's it. No more audio. No confirmation if he called anyone. No confirmation if he ran, if he got ambushed, or if he was already being watched as the mic recorded his final breaths of freedom. Now here's where things go. Even deeper and way more sinister. Within hours of that audio surfacing on the dark web, it vanished. Accounts that uploaded it? Gone. Shadow banned, deleted, scrubbed. People on Reddit claim they heard the audio and then received emails from cloud hosting legal units, warning them against dissemination of federal evidence. Federal evidence. But hold on. You want crazy? Two of the moderators from those threads who posted about the tape are reportedly now Mia. One user named BoomboxCasket77 hasn't posted since the leak. His Discord is offline. And get this, his profile bio used to read, "Biggie ain't sleeping, they just muted him." Muted, like silenced. Now let's jump back into the timeline. Within 72 hours of the tape dropping, one of Biggie's former managers allegedly got pulled in for questioning by private agents linked to a tech consulting firm, one that contracts for the Department of Homeland Security. According to someone in the building who overheard the conversation in the hallway, the questions weren't about music. They were about encrypted hard drives, non-disclosure agreements, and something called Project Silencer. I kid you not, Project Silencer. And look, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a Netflix thriller script, but listen. When a leaked audio clip sends the internet into meltdown mode, causes forum shutdowns, gets tech firms involved, and triggers references to decades-old surveillance programs, that's not a conspiracy. That's damage control. And who exactly benefits from silencing Biggie even now, decades after his death? That's the million-dollar question. Because these tapes, they didn't just reveal a paranoid man talking to himself. They revealed a man who had figured out too much. A man whose final words weren't fear-driven. They were a warning. So maybe, just maybe, Biggie's death wasn't just a beef gone too far. Maybe it was a premeditated hit tied to federal manipulation, industry sabotage, and an entire East Coast music coup. And maybe that audio was never supposed to be heard. Maybe it was buried. Until now, because here we are, in 2025. Still picking up the pieces of a puzzle that started in Brooklyn and got buried somewhere between Compton, Capitol Hill, and the Hollywood Walk of Shame. And if you still think this is just rap history, you haven't been listening. And now that the truth is crawling out from under the velvet rug of hip-hop history, what do you believe? Was Biggie silenced for what he was about to expose? Are these final recordings a warning, a message, or a setup? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button if your jaw's on the floor, and subscribe for more twisted truths the industry hoped you'd never hear. 'Cause baby, this saga, it's just getting started.